Hello, vinyl community. It's Bill here again. And today I'm doing a history of rock and pop in 20 albums. And it's really a vinyl community challenge. No prizes, but yeah, I'd like to see your take on how we can represent the, coming up for what, 70 years of rock and pop history, and which 20 albums would you show a Martian, an alien, or a new kid on the block, or a young teenager that's interested in popular music? How would you lay the foundations? I had a book called Rock Primer, and it had sections on California Sun, rock and roll, punk, 70s, etc. And yeah, there's a few best ofs in there, and yeah, a good way to find out which genres of popular music that you're interested in. So yeah, you can either put comments below about my selections and what you would have substituted, or better still, do your own response video. So here goes. So can't really talk about rock and roll and popular music without this guy here. This is Elvis Presley, and this is a pressing on pink vinyl. So yeah, I really needed to have Elvis. Because of songs such as Heartbreak Hotel, Hound Dog, Love Me Tender, All Shook Up, Jailhouse Rock, etc. So no collection would be complete without some Elvis Presley, the man who shook things up, shook his pelvis, got all these young girls in America and across the world interested in what was he talking about? What was he selling? Was it records or was it something else? And yeah, I had to choose Elvis because my other album number 2, was The Very Best of Rock and Roll. And this has got Tutti Frutti by Little Richard. We've got Come On Everybody by Eddie Cochran. That'll Be the Day by the Crickets. I did have a couple of other rock and roll compilations and found out that it would either mean missing out Elvis or missing out Buddy Holly. So I could have had sort of Sun Records greatest hits and supplement with Buddy Holly's Legend collection. But yeah, this has got Bebop-A-Lula by Gene Vincent and Rock Around the Clock, and Ray Vaughan, the sort of Bo Diddley backing or beat to Ray Vaughan. And yeah, the Isley Brothers' Twist and Shout's on here, as well as Roy Orbison's Only the Lonely. So we're covering, 55 to 62 or so with these two albums, Elvis and a compilation of the best rock and roll in the world ever. Next, I'm moving on to the 60s, and I think I've shown this one countless times before, but it's got such a great track listing on it. So yeah, we start off with Happy Birthday Sweet 16 by Neil Sedaka. There's Up on the Roof by the Drifters, She's Not There by the Zombies, I Get Around by the Beach Boys, and One Fine Day, the Chiffons. Side 2, we've got Jerry and the Pacemakers, Don't Let the Sun Catch You Crying, Baby I'm Yours, Barbara Lewis, Monday Monday, Mamas and Papas, Summer in the City by the Loving Spoonful, and House of the Rising Sun by the Animals. And then track 3, I think side 3 I've mentioned several times before, how's this for a lineup of great singles? Carry On by the Hollies, Whiter Shade of Pale, My Generation, I've Got to Get a Message to You by the Bee Gees. Come back to the Bee Gees later. You've Lost That Loving Feeling, the Righteous Brothers, and then Eve of Destruction, White Rabbit by Jefferson Airplane, all along the Watchtower, Hendrix, of course, and that fantastic cover of the Bob Dylan song, and then Layla by Eric Clapton in Derek in the Dominoes, and then With a Little Help from Your Friends by Joe Cocker, doing the Lennon and McCartney song. So again, there are a lot of 60s compilations out there, but do you get the Beatles and the Stones with them? Not very often, because McCartney and Yoko are very protective of the Beatles catalogue. So this sums up quite a lot of the 60s. But I'm also going to switch over to another one called Soul Deep. And this covers really black music in the late 50s and 60s through to the 70s. And again, this was a CD accompanying a BBC series looking at soul music and its origins, etc. So we've got Louis Jordan, Let the Good Times Roll. So that's from the 1940s. And also Caledonia. You don't know what Caledonia is putting down. And then there's a couple of gospel numbers with Sam Cooke with the Soul Stirrers. And then we move on to Fats Domino with Blue Monday and Little Richard with Ready Teddy. And then we've got Etta James, Supremes, Mary Wells, Martha Reeves and the Vandellas with Nowhere to Run. And on CD2, there's Dancing in the Street. We've got The Impressions, People Get Ready. And we've also got James Brown, Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. What a fantastic single that is. The DNA of soul music, really. And there's also Sly and the Family Stone, Dance to the Music. Two numbers from the Temptations, which are Cloud Nine and Ball of Confusion. I would have had Papa Was a Rolling Stone on this as well, but it's not there. And then you have Parliament, Up for the Downstroke. So this is a really good CD set covering black music and the 60s and early 70s. Now, we can't speak about 60s music without this lot. Now, it was a toss-up which color of double album I would show, but I'm going with 67 to 70. And yeah, primarily because of the two opening tracks on this compilation, which are Strawberry Fields Forever and Penny Lane. But we've also got Sgt. Pepper's on here. And we've also got, back in the USSR, While My Guitar Gently Weeps, which is a George Harrison number, together with Here Comes the Sun and Something are also another couple of tracks on this. So this is really great. But people could argue that I should have chosen the Red album because, you know, if it hadn't been for these multi-million selling singles, would the Beatles have got to their experimental stages and the music that enlightened the late 60s? So yeah, as we look forward to the Get Back film by Peter Jackson, yeah, you definitely need some Beatles in a collection that covers the history of rock and pop. And then if you deem the Beatles to be essential, which of course they are, the other essential group are the Rolling Stones and Rolled Gold. And this is all the Decca hits, or I think if here in the USA, they were on London. but we've got, you know, all the covers of Chuck Berry songs. Well, there's one, well, two, Come On and Carol. And then you've got Buddy Holly. And then we have Willie Dixon's Little Red Rooster, etc. And the last track is I Can't Get No Satisfaction. So that's the last track on side one. It's a double album. Nice gatefold again with photos of the band at various stages during the 60s. And then side two, we've got As Tears Go By, Paint It Black, Out of Time, and 19th Nervous Breakdown with that wonderful bass guitar riff. Side three, we've got Have You Seen Your Mother, Baby Standing in the Shadows, Yesterday's Papers, and She's a Rainbow from the Satanic Majesty's Request album, and Paint It Black's on here as well. And we've also got on side four Honky Tonk Woman's Sympathy for the Devil. Sympathy for the Devil, the great lyrics on that, as well as Street Fighting Man, Midnight Rambler, and Gimme Shelter. So all four sides of this are very strong. So that's my Rolling Stones selection. And yeah, if you think of a holy trinity of the 60s, it would be Beatles, Stones, and this guy, Bob Dylan. Now, I don't have a copy of Greatest Hits or Greatest Hits Volume 2, but in the absence of that, I would go with Blonde on Blonde. And yeah, Dylan goes electric. Dylan does a double album, and we've got, you know, the foundations of folk rock here. We've got Rainy Day Women numbers 12 and 35, Visions of Johanna, Stuck Inside the Mobile with the Memphis Blues again, Just Like a Woman, and yeah, Sad-Eyed Lady of the Lowlands. Yeah, really great double album this, with fantastic songs everywhere you look. So let's see what we're going to show next. Now, this is a bit of a cheat because I don't have the triple album. Is that a clue for you? Peace, Love, and Understanding, 3 days of peace and music. So yeah, this covers a lot of the sort of hippie, sort of maybe less commercial music, but they were commercial all the same. And on here we have Joan Baez, Queen of Folk. We've got Canned Heat, Joe Cocker, Country Joe and the Fish, Crosby, Still and Nash. I think Neil Young was there as well, but maybe not on the film. Richie Havens, Jimi Hendrix, of course, Jefferson Airplane, Janis Joplin, Santana, John Sebastian from the Loving Spoonful, Sha-Na Na doing some sort of rock and roll revival, Sly and the Family Stone, 10 Years After, and The Who. And The Who's set at Woodstock is really great, calling on some other stuff from Tommy, but yeah, Whirling Mike from Daltrey, windmill guitaring from Pete Townsend, and yeah, if you get the triple album, there's a really good album called of Creedence Clearwater Revival at Woodstock, but for contractual reasons, they weren't on the original release. So I think those, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 20 dedicated to the 60s. Probably about right. Then moving into the 70s and building on the DNA of the Byrds and Graham Parsons and Jackson Browne, and the sort of folk country rock. We have the Eagles. It was a toss-up for me whether I should show the first greatest hits collection or maybe the CD version of the Ultimate Eagles, but I've chosen Hotel California, and yeah, the track listing is fantastic. So we kick off with Hotel California, New Kid in Town, Life in the Fast Lane, fantastic song. Wasted Time, then Wasted Time's Reprise, Victim of Love, Pretty Maids All in a Row, Try and Love Again, and The Last Resort. And some fantastic lyrics on this Eagles album, and great playing from Don Henley, Glenn Fry, Joe Walsh, Don Felder, and did I mention Don Henley? Right. So that's the Eagles. And then speaking about building on other people's DNA. So we had sort of heavy metal, the DNA of which was the Kinks with You Really Got Me. And then Led Zeppelin had a series of albums, but yeah, I guess the archetypal heavy rock album is Led Zeppelin 4 or Runes. And yeah, we've got some great songs on here again. We've got Black Dog, Rock and Roll, The Battle of Evermore, and no guitar solos, please, from this one in the music shop, the guitar shop. No Stairway to Heaven, please. But yeah, it's a fantastic sort. Starts off very folky and then builds and builds and builds, and then we have heavy rock at its finest. And then we've got Misty Mountain Hop, Four Sticks, Going to California, and When the Levee Breaks, and a guest appearance of Sandy Denny on The Battle of Evermore. And then, yeah, 70s. There's only really one album for the 70s, isn't there? And this is Dark Side of the Moon. Pink Floyd at their finest. The album that everyone should have in their collection. I say that without reservation. And yeah, Dark Side of the Moon, Time, Money, and yeah, just great vocals, great guitar solos, great sound effects, great album. And then I'm going to go for a new genre altogether, and we've got disco and Saturday Night Fever with John Travolta. And yeah, soundtrack to this is fantastic. So we've got Staying Alive, How Deep Is Your Love, I Can't Have You by Yvonne Elliman, More Than a Woman, Tavares, Night Fever itself, the title track, Disco Inferno by the Tramps. Yeah, is this the only disco album you need? Well, there's no Donna Summer on this, but yeah, Kool and the Gang. And I really liked, what was it? Night on Disco Mountain, which is a disco take on Mussorgsky's classic, which is Night on a Bear Mountain. But yeah, and there's another sort of classic classical music meets disco, which is Fifth of Beethoven, a Walter Murphy track, which I think was used as a TV theme in a recent American production about the early 70s. Yeah, so great album. This is the album if you want to dance. Yeah. And then the antithesis to disco is punk rock. So We have Sid Vicious and Johnny Rotten, Glenn Matlock and Co. And Never Mind the Bollocks. Here's the Sex Pistols, iconic sleeve, as I've discussed in a previous video. Pretty Vacant, God Save the Queen, Holidays in the Sun, Anarchy in the UK. All fantastic examples of punk rock at its best. And then another one that I show again and again, which is the soundtrack to the movie called That Summer. And this has got some essential punk and new wave on it. So there's Sex and Drugs and Rock and Roll by Ian Dury, She's So Modern by the Boomtown Rats, Because the Night, the Patti Smith Group. And then we've got Rockaway Beach by the Ramones, Teenage Kicks, which is one of the ultimate singles in the history of popular music, and John Peel's favorite song by the guys from Northern Ireland, from Derry, and that's Undertones and Teenage Kicks. And then we've got Watching the Detectives by Elvis Costello, and Richard Hell and the Voidoids, Blank Generation. Really nice album, this interesting film as well. But punk and new wave. Now, what will I show you next? There was one guy from the 70s who went and did various genres in the 70s, and then went and did his own thing, and his output is a cornerstone of rock and popular music, and it is, of course, David Bowie. And I've chosen the singles collection. So yeah, this is so that we get all the great songs, Space Oddity, Changes, Starman, Ziggy Stardust, Gene Genie, Drive-In Saturday, Life on Mars. Then we've got Young Americans, Fame, Golden Years. Then we move to the Berlin trilogy. We've got TVC 1-5, Sound and Vision, Heroes, Beauty and the Beast. And then later we've got entrance into the 80s with Ashes to Ashes, Fashion, Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. Under Pressure, which is Queen with David Bowie. That probably shoehorns in Queen, because I'm not sure if I've got them covered in any other album. And then we've got Let's Dance, China Girl, Modern Love, and Dancing in the Street with Mick Jagger as well. So that covers a lot of the various musical directions of David Bowie. Sadly misses out Black Star and The Next Day, and thankfully misses out Tin Machine, but there must be people out there that did like Tin Machine and a lot of the albums from the 90s. Also in the 80s, is it 80s? 1982. We have Michael Jackson and Thriller, and this has got such a lot of good songs on it. So there's the title track and that famous video with the zombies dancing, but we've also got Beat It, Billie Jean, Pretty Young Thing, and The Girl Is Mine with Paul McCartney and Michael Jackson as a duo. And yeah, some great guitar work on this as well, and produced by Quincy Jones. Again, 80s, and we have to speak about Madge and Madonna's Immaculate collection. So this covers sort of dance music again. And yeah, I think Madonna plowed a new furrow in popular music with Holiday, Borderline, Like a Virgin, Material Girl, Papa Don't Preach, Papa Don't Preach. And then we've got Vogue and Justify My Love, as well as Like a Prayer. Really good collection, the Immaculate collection by Madonna. Then I've got a band that personifies hair rock, and it's Guns N' Roses and Appetite for Destruction. And again, yeah, hair rock, Bon Jovi and Aerosmith, maybe, I don't know, and a few others in America with, you know, Because I'm Worth It, Golden Flowing Locks, etc. So I'm going with Axl Rose and Slash here, and we've got Welcome to the Jungle, we've got Paradise City and Sweet Child O' Mine. Really good. This is the original cover that was replaced because some vendors, record shops in the States didn't like this artwork. I think they might have a point. It looks a bit like the trailer for Venom or Venom 2 on this. And then in the 90s, well, I have an apology here. I do have some hip hop in the form of Massive Attack and De La Soul. I don't really have any rap in my collection, apart from Us Three, which is rap with a jazz backing. But, you know, I like Jay-Z and some Kanye as well, but I don't have them in my collection. And I don't know if Straight Outta Compton would have a good track listing or not, but I haven't anything to show for that or those genres. And apologies, you won't see any reggae because I couldn't fit in Bob Marley in the 20 albums. So, but I do have Nevermind by Nirvana, and Smells Like Teen Spirit is, yeah, the essential grunge track. But yeah, we've got Tutorial Pissings, Stay Away, Something in the Way, and Lithium on this great album. So that takes me up to 19 albums that I've shown already. And I'm almost apologetic. I did think, will I show this one or not? Come on, Bill, what are you going to show for some recent music? And I don't know if they have this series in the States, but in Europe, we had a series of albums called Now, That's What I Call Music. And I think Now 1 and 2 were sort of saying, you know, what's in the charts at the moment isn't very good. You should listen to this as alternatives. But then as the volumes of Now music went on and on, it came to reflect the best singles in the charts for that 2 or 3 month period. And then I bought this one for my wife as part of a birthday or Christmas present, because it has 100 hits from 100 nows. And yeah, you won't be able to read the track listing, but yeah, there's some essential tracks on this 5 CD set. So is it really an album or is that a box set? So I'm cheating a bit here, but we've got Culture Club's Karma Chameleon on here. We've got Run DMC with Aerosmith, Walk This Way. We have Wham's Wake Me Up Before You Go Go. Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Relax. We have The Beautiful South, A Little Time. We've got Soul to Soul's Back to Life, Technotronics, Pump It Up Jam, or Pump Up the Jam, James, Sit Down, that's a fantastic single. We've got Destiny's Child's Bootylicious, Tattoo, All the Things She Said, Britney Spears' Toxic, that's a fantastic pop song. And then I've got, what else? Take That Shine. We've got Amy Winehouse's Rehab. We've got The Killers' Human. We've got the Black Eyed Peas, I Got a Feeling. Pharrell Williams, Happy. We've got Sean Paul's Cheap Thrills, Rag and Bone Man's Human, and George Ezra's Shotgun. So 100 tracks. I haven't read them all out. I wouldn't say they're all my taste, but yeah, quite an interesting selection from, what's that, early 80s with Culture Club through to 2018, 2019. So not a proper album, but it picks up on some that I maybe would have missed out. And Lady Gaga's Poker Face is on here, and Alicia Keys, Empire State of Mind. So that's the 20th album from Bill's History of Rock and Pop in 20 albums. So I think that might have been a bit of a fail, that last one, but over to you to see if you can do better. A history of rock and pop in 20 albums. They can be studio albums, they can be best ofs, they can be compilation albums, they can be soundtracks. It's up to you. But tell me where I got gone wrong, and please, please, please do a video as a response to this. Take care. Bye just now.